T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
It's a special edition of Sports and Other Stuff. I'm J-Boy. Lugs, are you there?
This is your field correspondent, Lugs.
And our other
I'm T-Dog.
Hey, all right, we're all here together. So, this week's program, Free Agency Saves Sports Radio, the quarterback carousel, and will we ever have sports again? And that's kind of a serious question. So, T-Dog, let's start with you about the free agency. And really, it gave all the sports radio guys something to talk about, especially a guy in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I guess just start with, the biggest name. You have Tom Brady, which I never thought he would leave, particularly for Tampa. So I guess the rumor about him wanting to stay on the East Coast for his son that he had with Bridget Moynihan was true. I find it fascinating because if you kind of look at, they were like a 500 team last year, and Jameis Winston threw 30 picks. So it's like, if you cut that, just by half, which Tom Brady, if you look at his numbers, he'll cut it by more than half. They could be a 10-win team. I just worry about, in that offense, how he's going to really function, because Bruce Arians allows his quarterbacks to get killed, and this is a 43-year-old. So the Phillip Rivers to Indianapolis, everyone was pretty much calling that one. And I'm trying to think of Teddy Bridgewater. Again,
Teddy Bridgewater.
He makes sense going to Carolina. A lot of these make sense except for the Tom Brady one. Phillip Rivers is used to the coaching staff in Indy. Bridgewater knows Joe Brady, who will be the OC for Carolina. The trade by Chicago with Nick Foles, multiple people on that coaching staff have coached him before. Because, again, kind of going with the Corona thing, there won't be any OTAs probably in May. We don't know how this will affect training camp. So they just want guys who can come in, understand the system, and can kind of go without having to train or study.
All right, Lugs, your thoughts, man. We got Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater. It's the carousel of quarterbacks that save sports radio. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm glad to see that guys like Lachlan McClain have something to talk about, to keep their livelihood going.
Amen to that.
What I take away from all this is that we're at a sort of crossover point, especially with quarterbacks. You've got the aging ones. You really don't have a middle-range quarterback, in the middle of his career. But I was kind of surprised by Washington not taking Cam Newton, not giving him a shot, but taking Kyle Allen. That kind of surprised me. But overall, I think Brady's going to sell a few jerseys and a few more seats in Tampa Bay. And the rest of the guys are just shoring things up. Good, I'm perfectly glad for Teddy. He's a good guy that deserves a break after. I'm sorry, that sounds like almost a pun, but anyway.
Yes, young Bridgewater. You are wise, young Bridgewater. He got a good gig out of the deal. And It really did save sports radio in this time of null and void and nothing to talk about in every sports, including, I just saw today, Aussie Rules Football pulled the plug, the last holdout sport in the coronavirus era. So there is nothing to talk about, just speculation, and I guess this is the new hot stove of football league talk this time of year.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I've caught a couple of they're replaying some of the classic games from March Madness, and I've caught a couple of those. At least you get a little bit of a fix. There's no doubt about the outcome, but at least you're getting the, excitement of the announcers. So that's a good thing for sports buffs.
T-Dog, what else you got on that carousel of free agency? There's a lot that has happened just in a few short days.
Well, kind of going back to the Teddy Bridgewater thing, so a few of the guys kind of stuck in limbo. They should maybe take a page out of Teddy Bridgewater, like Andy Dalton. Like he should try to go with a team with a high-powered offense, and maybe he can resuscitate his career being behind a good O line and with wide receivers. He'll have to show it in preseason, or at the very least, if a guy gets injured, he can maybe resuscitate like his monetary value. And Jameis Winston, even more so, just because of how young he is, if he goes to a place and maybe can resuscitate, like he can be back in it. And Cam Newton, I understand why people didn't take a chance on him. Again, because of this whole situation, teams aren't allowed to bring in Cam Newton to have their doctors because they want their doctors to evaluate him. So because of that, no one's going to take a chance on probably Cam Newton unless it's bargain basement. Carolina's probably going to have to cut him. And probably the Chargers will probably pick him up, if I was to guess.
Okay, I got a question for both of you. I was surprised by Nick Foles versus why not take Teddy Bridgewater, or the Red Rifle versus Foles for the Bears. Lugs.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd be Bridgewater because I think he could do something with the particular parts they have around him. I'm surprised by Andy Dalton a little bit as well, but because he's a solid quarterback. You know, T-Dog and I have knocked heads over him a little bit. And by the way, Cincinnati is spending some money finally to get some defensive guys in. So I think that they're finally seeing the light a little bit. If they indeed take Joe Burrow, they've got a shot at doing something beyond just getting to the playoffs and losing. So that would be my comment for that.
All right, T-Dog, big question here. Is Brian Hoyer really going to be the quarterback of the New England Patriots?
He's not. It's actually going to be Jarrett Stidham, because actually last year Jarrett Stidham beat him out to be the backup quarterback. So they're bringing in Brian Hoyer to just exclusively be the backup. They're going forward, and they're going to – it feels definitely like – and if you look at where they draft, they are going to go with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. They might take Andy Dalton when he's cut, which I think he'll get cut as well. But again, I don't even feel that confident in that. So I think it's Stidham. They're rolling with Stidham. So,
Lugs, your take on New England, new quarterback. Who's it going to be?
I guess they trust Brian Hoyer, but I would think you'd want to have somebody with a little bit more, I'd say, flash. But Hoyer is perfectly serviceable, I guess, and I'm sure that by now he does know the offense, and otherwise, why would they sign him at all? So it would be interesting if indeed we get an NFL season just to see how all of this does shake out.
T-Dog,
your thoughts on Hoyer and the future? What do you
think?
I said, he's been a backup for how long? Forever.
He's just going to be a backup. They'll take a chance on Stidham if Stidham doesn't work out. Yeah, if they end up like just eating the bit this year, they'll be in prime chance to probably get Justin Fields. I think if you look at what the Jaguars have done this offseason, just offload talent after talent after talent, they're positioning themselves to get Trevor Lawrence. I don't think anyone else is positioning themselves as well as Jaguars to get Trevor Lawrence. So, and to go back to what Lug said, like Cincinnati, I mean, if you look at those moves that they made with getting DJ Reed, getting Trey Wayne, getting Alexander, the two corners from Minnesota, they don't have to say it. Not that anyone would be surprised by it. By doing those moves, they're pretty much saying they're taking Joe Burrow. Like that, they wouldn't make those moves if they're not getting Joe Burrow. They're investing money to show that they want to win, and they're trying to drum up excitement. So obviously to get people to come back and buy tickets. So like they're all in Joe Burrow. They might not say it, but those moves say it.
Yes, welcome to the Joe Burrow fan club, Kentuckiana chapter. All right, Lugs, question for you, big one. I'm overstating the obvious. This is very trivial sports in our life right now, but will we get professional sports back, and which league first?
Of course, I think we'll get it back. I mean, we're going to get through this. It's just we're a week into sort of the lockdown mode or semi-lockdown mode, but sports will come back. As far as who will come back first, I would guess the NBA or maybe baseball. But it's this whole episode is so unpredictable. It's like one of those bad made-for-TV movies. But I'm optimistic about getting sports back so that folks like us have something to talk about when we don't have other things like coronavirus to talk about.
Yeah, T-Dog, your thoughts on that? Which sport, when? Do we have any idea? You're closer to it on the front line news-wise than most of us. What are your thoughts?
I agree with Lugs. I think NBA will be the first back, probably with the NHL. MLB will be close behind. I think it'll be. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say for certain. I feel probably by July, sports will be probably back. I expect this to go until at least probably June. I don't know how far in.
Well, this could really create some excitement with shortened seasons, different playoff structures. It might actually knock some sense into these sports that have these seasons that go on forever, and something to give us relief after all this shelter-in-place shutdown mode.
Well, the weird effect, I'll just say real quick, and then I'll let Lugs talk. The weird effect is obviously we're going to have a dry spell because obviously it's just unsafe to have it. But the weird thing is on the back end, you're just going to have things on top of each other. You're going to have the Derby on top of college football. You're going to have, obviously you're going to have the Indy 500 on top of, like maybe the NBA finals. You're going to have all these things just on top of each other where it used to be spread out, and all these sports are now going to be condensed right on top of each other. That'll be the interesting thing is like all the contracts that they have for all these different things. How are ABC, CBS, NBC, how are they going to honor them when all these things scheduling wise are going to be on top of each other?
Juggling all these things. So, Lugs, your thoughts on the sports coming back? It will be a big relief. Do you see it as being an interesting thing to watch because of all these seasons will be so shortened, condensed, fewer days off? What are your thoughts on that?
They're going to, and you wonder about like contracts and salaries and how that will all work since they're not playing, but they're not playing because it's not that they don't want to play. I just wonder about all that. I think you'll have a bunch of overlap. You'll have maybe a structured playoff system like we haven't seen before. I don't know how you would judge things like most valuable player and that sort of thing with the season truncated the way it's been. So it'll just be interesting to watch the people, the owners and those kind of people figure it out and satisfy the players themselves as well.
All right, gentlemen, it's getting to that time of our program where we do Wild Ass Predictions. T-Dog, I toss to you your first prediction of this new world we live in now.
I kind of hinted at it already. As much as I enjoy watching Trevor Lawrence, I feel bad for him that he's going to become a Jacksonville Jaguar. And I think it's pretty much locked in. I don't think anyone else has positioned themselves to get Trevor Lawrence better than Jacksonville. They got rid of all their top-level players for the most part except for Yannick Ngakoue. So I think that's my wild-ass prediction.
All right, Lugs, your wild-ass prediction for this edition of sports and other stuff.
I guess my prediction would, wild-ass or not, I'm saying we'll be back to normal by August. I hope. That's my prayer.
I'm with you, and I think that the NFL season, my prediction is, will be delayed significantly, and I know we just went through the CBA with a 17-game season to come forward in a couple years or a year and a half. I think we'll only have a 12-game NFL season, and it'll be frantic with probably not much time for bye weeks to get it all in when everything starts up because they still have to have camps and OTAs, and I don't know how all that's going to get together in this world of shutdown, lockdown, nobody go anywhere. So we'll see how that goes. And you're right. Thoughts and prayers to everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, gentlemen, anything else for the good of the cause?